You know, guys, this matter of Palapala keeps following the president like a bad nightmare. And at this point, it seems like there is nothing that Ramaphosa can say or do to distract the people from Palapala. It doesn't matter what the president says, it doesn't matter what the president does. When the dust settles, people will always remind him of Palapala. And we did predict that if there is one thing that is going to take down Ramaphosa, is this matter of Palapala. In 2027, the ANC is going to a conference, and we know that the majority of the ANC are typical comrades. So they have two guns to use against Ramaphosa. And when I say they, I'm speaking about the likes of Paul Mashatile and Panyaza Lusufi. We know very well that these are people that are not happy about Ramaphosa and his administration. They have been very critical of the government of national unity, despite Ramaphosa trying everything in his power to be the glue of this GNU. People like Panyaza Lusufi and Paul Mashatile have been very critical of the GNU. So I am not going to be surprised in 2027 if they basically target Ramaphosa. So these people actually have two guns to use against Ramaphosa. We know that majority of the people inside the ANC, they are not happy with the fact that the administration of Ramaphosa has decided to get into a working relationship with the Democratic Alliance. We know that the majority of these people are the so-called radical economic transformation comrades, and they see this thing as a betrayal to black people because they look at the Democratic Alliance and say that this is a white political party, and Ramaphosa working with these people, it is a betrayal to us. So they are going to use that against Ramaphosa, or they are going to use this matter of Palapala. But one between the two is actually going to work. After 2027, Ramaphosa is not going to be the president of the ANC. Even the people that are speaking on his behalf and defending him, the likes of Snuki Zikalala or Fikile Mbalula, they are going to start to speak against Ramaphosa and come out in the media to say that, no, we are representing the interest of the ANC. We are not representing the interest of an individual. This is what these people are going to say, because we know this is how the comrades basically operate. You remember when Jacob Zuma was the president of this country, man, Fikile Mbalula was like the cheerleader of Jacob Zuma. But as soon as Jacob Zuma was out, he started to speak bad about Jacob Zuma. So this is what he's going to do with Ramaphosa. I mean, this is how the comrades operate, just like with this article that we are going to read about the former Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, because many of us can actually remember this relationship of Ramaphosa and the former Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. Every time when you saw Raymond Zondo and Cyril Ramaphosa somewhere in the media, these people would be laughing, hugging each other and speaking big English. You could see that there was some sort of a relationship here. But now that the former Chief Justice is out, he can say things that he wanted to say all along. And it seems like he's not happy about the fact that Ramaphosa didn't resign over the matter of Palapala. This is a shocker if you think about the relationship of these two people. So Raymond Zondo was speaking at an anti-corruption conference at Nelson Mandela University on Sunday. And he did say that Ramaphosa's decision not to resign, it is a setback in fight against corruption. This is what Zondo says. So it seems like the former Chief Justice actually wanted Ramaphosa to resign over this matter of Palapala. But Ramaphosa, being stubborn as he is, he said, no, I will not resign. I want to be the president of this country until Jesus Christ comes back. So Zondo said, fine, have it. I am not going to be critical when I'm still in government, but wait for me to go outside. Then I'm going to tell you what I think about you, man. I'm not happy about that at all. So the article says that President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision not to resign and clear his name over the Palapala scandal undermines the fight against corruption and set a bad precedent for the future head of states facing allegations of serious misconduct. It continues to say that this is the view of former Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, who spoke at an anti-corruption conference at Nelson Mandela University on Sunday. The two-day conference is hosted by the Center for Law in Action in partnership with Fish Force. Quote, Zondo says, when you think about ethical leadership, there can be no doubt that if Ramaphosa had insisted that he would resign and carried out that decision, he would have given this country an important tool to use against corruption and wrongdoing, because for any president after him, the nation would have been able to say, should that president face serious allegations of wrongdoing, they should also resign. So Zondo believes that if Ramaphosa had basically resigned, this would have set a good precedent for the future head of state, and the people would actually say that, no, we know of a president that was in the wrong and that president actually resigned, so we are not going to allow you to continue to be our president when we know that you are corrupt as Ramaphosa. But Ramaphosa said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. You guys will have to drag me out of the union building. This is what you will have to do. You'll have to drag me out. So Zondo was commenting on media reports claiming that after the former Chief of Justice Sandile Ngcobo's report, Ramaphosa had contemplated about resigning but was dissuaded by the senior ANC leaders. Ngcobo chaired the panel that probed the $580,000 stolen from Ramaphosa's Phalaphala game farm near Bela Bela in Limpopo in 2020. The panel report handed to Parliament's Speaker in November 2022 and found Ramaphosa had a case to answer on the break-in. So you can see it says that the panel report was handed to Parliament's Speaker in November 2022 and found Ramaphosa had a case to answer on a break-in. But this is not what that public protector who had basically turned into a president protector says, because you look at Koleka Galeka continues to absolve Ramaphosa of any responsibility of anything. This woman, like in her eyes, Ramaphosa could not do any wrong. Ramaphosa could not do any wrong. And I find that very disturbing. I find that very disturbing that we have a public protector that continues to protect the president at any cost. I don't know about you guys, but me, guys, personally, I find it very concerning. I don't want to lie. Quote, but because he did not resign, and it is hard to think of politicians in the last 30 years who had resigned when faced with serious allegations of misconduct, it is difficult to see that in the future we will have a president that resigns. So, Zondo had all the smoke for Ramaphosa. Zondo had all the smoke for Ramaphosa. He had all the smoke for Ramaphosa. And he continues to say that they will always say, but Ramaphosa did not resign. President Jacob Zuma may have been a terrible president, but he should not have different standards to others. Not to say there is a Zuma Law, because there is no Zuma Law, but a law for everybody, and it is applied to everybody. By not resigning, Zondo said Ramaphosa would now find it hard to fire his ministers. Of course, because these people in the ANC, you remember what Batabile Dlamini says, man. Like we have our smallanyana skeleton. We have our smallanyana skeleton. I think this is the reason why Ramaphosa could not even to fire some of these people that are terrible in government. These people that are terrible in the municipalities. That's why the ANC cannot do anything about them, because they keep blackmailing each other. Just like Batabile Dlamini said, that all of us have our smallanyana skeletons. All of us have our smallanyana skeleton. Quote, when somebody is charged with corruption and some celebrate such person as a hero. Okay. When somebody is charged with corruption and some celebrate such person as a hero, the message they send it is corruption is acceptable, and they have no problem with the people charged with corruption and associating with them. Okay, guys, I hear all of these things that Zondo is saying, but I'm not familiar with the law. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like I'm Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. I'm not going to do that. But why couldn't Zondo say all of these things while he was still in office? Can you guys please tell me why couldn't Zondo say all of these things while he was still the president? Why? No, while he was still in office, why couldn't Zondo say that, but no, Ramaphosa? Or why wasn't he careful about the kind of a relationship that the media has portrayed of him and Ramaphosa? if this is the way that he was feeling about Ramaphosa, because it is clear now with all of these things that he's saying that the man did not like Ramaphosa. The man did not like Ramaphosa, but he actually allowed the media to actually paint a picture of him and Ramaphosa actually having this bromance. Now that he's out, he's starting to tell the people that, guys, I feel exactly the way you feel about Ramaphosa. I think this man is guilty and he should have resigned. But if you go back to the pictures of Raymond Zondo and Ramaphosa, this is not what they say. So I don't know, is Zondo just being disingenuous here? I don't know. I honestly don't know. So the article ends by saying that the conference, which includes international academics, MPs, and heads of anti-corruption organizations, comes 2 months after the 3rd-year anniversary of when Zondo handed over the complete State Capture Commission report to Ramaphosa. Topic discussed fall under themes of impact of corruption, mechanisms available to fight corruption, measures implemented elsewhere, and possible sustainable solutions. So this is very scathing for Zondo to say about Ramaphosa. I don't want to lie. This is very scathing for Zondo to say about Ramaphosa, and I find this quite shocking that this is what Zondo has basically said about Ramaphosa. But at least we can actually agree that Ramaphosa has something to answer here. Unlike that public protector says that no, the president is innocent. You guys are being wild, but the president is innocent. At least there is something that we can agree on with Raymond Zondo, that Ramaphosa actually has something to answer for here, man. Like, there's no way, man. That story of Palapala was too wild for Ramaphosa not to answer. I mean, like, just imagine, man, $580,000, man, being found. $580,000 being found. I remember a couple of days ago, I actually read a story of a guy that was found with, like, what, I think 1 million rands, and this guy was arrested without any question. He was arrested. The government basically threw the book at this guy, but now you have the president who actually stashed millions and millions in his mattresses, and the government says nothing. The government says nothing. And right now, Chief Justice Raymond Zondo says, I mean, come on, Ramaphosa should have resigned. And I believe that he actually has a case to answer for. So, guys, what do you think, man, about all of these revelations, man? Did you expect Raymond Zondo to make this U-turn? I did not expect Raymond Zondo to do such a U-turn. Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.